Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a review for episode 13 of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here 2024. So this was Friday's episode, and we found out that in Friday's episode, one of the campmates was going to be eliminated from the show. So, Jane said that her team was on the lowest amount of money, they needed to save money. Jane explained to Maura that this is her at her best. If she gets a husband, he will appreciate her for herself. And Melvin suggested that if somebody needed the toilet, they should just take the bucket with them, fill it up with water, and then bring it back to camp. So instead of it just being him backwards and forwards all the time, if they go in that way, just grab some water and then just bring it back. GK and Alan discussed that all of the wood that they had was wet, so they needed to dry it from the fire or go and get some extra. And Melvin discussed with Barry, saying that he felt like he should go and help him, you know, because obviously, well, he should help Barry by taking on this challenge because he's the only one that hasn't done a trial. So he basically said, Barry, you know what, I feel like I'm going to take on this challenge. So it ended up being Oti and Melvin. GK said that as a duo, she doesn't think they're going to do very well, but it will be quite entertaining to watch. And we found out for this trial that both Oti and Melvin were in a water tank. And again, I think this is probably one of the best trials of this season. So you had Oti on the left, Melvin on the right. They had a helmet, like a fishbowl on their head, and obviously their legs were just dangling in the water. And obviously they had things in both of their tanks, and they had to basically just move, well, Melvin had to move the stuff from his little water area along some sort of puzzle, pass it to Oti. She would have to do it across her puzzle, get it out, put it in her bag. So down there they had snakes, well, in their helmets they had snakes and spiders, and underneath with their legs they had yappies and lizards in the water. And yeah, so yeah, it was very difficult to watch because obviously you don't know how good or bad these people are going to be in the challenges, but just I think both of them literally within 10 seconds closed their eyes. They were like, don't tell us what you're putting in the helmets, don't tell us what's where, just literally trying to just feel with their hands. Oh, is this Melvin's hand? Okay, cool, and there's a star, cool, and get it out to the end. So I think once they did the first few stars, it was just incredible to watch. Like there was literally spiders crawling on their head, there were snakes crawling around their face, they had all sorts like wiggling around their like legs and their feet and stuff, and it was, I wouldn't do it, so props to both of them. And at the end, obviously, they managed to get 12 out of 12 stars. Oti was quite cocky or quite overconfident. And right at the end, she goes, I'm going to need you guys to count that out for me. So every so often, she was like, 1, 2. So she was counting to 12, but just being quite funny. And then back at camp, Maura asked whether mealworms laid eggs. Melvin basically explained to the campmates that the water was going absolutely everywhere. And yeah, Oti basically said it was Dean, because I think he was trying to bring water back and he kind of was just spilling it all over the place, with Melvin going, well, he's going to have to go and fetch some more water. And Oti basically said that she wanted to get the job done in terms of the trial, so she wanted to make everybody proud. Colleen explained to Oti and GK about her kids' names, that they all begin with the letter K, and I think her youngest begins with the letter C in order to kind of match her name, because there's at least be another C Rooney as part of their family. And GK basically said that it seems like massive celebrities are just normal people, and she said she definitely want to meet Wayne next, potentially get herself invited around for dinner and tea. Alan said that Prince Charles had actually come to the Coronation Street set when they were filming it, a live episode. And Reverend Richard also discussed about the late Queen being unable to use stairs, so she was in the lift. She ended up going down to the service floor with some random cleaner who was like, move out of the way. She obviously didn't realise that, you know, Royal Majesty was standing there. She ended up getting an invite for a cup of tea and, you know, dinner and whatever at the palace. So that obviously made that woman's day. Alan, Reverend and Dean, again, were all speaking about the royals. And Maura said to Danny that he spent all of his money. And she was basically saying that she was worried that it was going to get to a point where she was going to end up, or her team was going to end up all spending their money, and that they wouldn't be able to buy XYZ luxury. So I think she was very smart here, because she was like, hang on, there must be a reason we're saving all this money up. Like, we actually need the money to buy something, so I'm not going to use it on going to the toilet or, you know, having a bath or whatever. I'd rather do less of that, have more money to play with as a team, and then, you know, see what we can get. So yeah, she was very smart there. And then there was some sort of leaderboard of how many tokens or how much money each of the teams had. So at this point, Pink had 370, Orange had 640, and in the lead still was Blue with 990. And they had one more challenge in order to win money, with the winning team having first choice of what they were going to spend the money on. So the only people that hadn't taken part in the challenges were Colleen and Melvin, Talisa and Barry, OT and GK. So they were the 6 that obviously were able to take part in this challenge. Danny said that pain is temporary, and Colleen said that at the moment her team has lost and they needed to change that. So this game was called The Piggy Bank. So each piggy was worth 250 points or 250 pounds or whatever, and they basically were in their pairs. All it was they were standing, they had loads of stuff falling on them, and there was like a cage above. They had their coloured team's coin plonked to the top right hand side, and they just had to move it like a little game from one corner to the other corner, let it drop, put it in their stand, and obviously for each round, the team that won, the other 2 teams would lose a piggy. So if you lost every single round, you would lose all 3 of your piggies. If you won 2 rounds and lost 1, you'd lose 1 piggy, but you'd still have 2 wins. So yeah, Colleen and Melvin basically explained that they were both quite short. Talisa said that obviously her team are a little leg up already. The first pig was won by the blue team, the second one was won by the orange team, and the third one was won by the orange team. So the orange team actually came out a little bit stronger there, but they still didn't win. So the pink team ended up on 620, the orange team ended up on 1,390, and the blue team were on 1,490. So it was the blue team that were able to decide what things they were going to spend their money on first. Orange would be the next team to go, and then obviously pink would kind of just be left with whatever was left. So for the blue team, they decided that they wanted to get 2 of the 500 ones, 1 of the 300 ones, and 1 of the 100 ones. So then they ended up getting some chocolate, crumpets with butter and jam, 4 double chocolate biscuits, and obviously the sports results, which was obviously for Barry. For the orange team, they got salt and pepper sachets, clothes, 4 glasses of squash, salted popcorn and biscuits. That was more kind of decided by Grace. So she kind of hinted, well actually these are kind of the best of the worst options, obviously clothes is important. And then for the pink team, they were kind of just left with whatever they could afford. So for 600, they got a 300 fruit platter and a 300 bag of sweets. So they still were able to get something, just not the most. When GK went back, she said she wasn't jealous about the crumpets. And Colleen, obviously her and Melvin, she just shouted, "Here come the paupers," because obviously her and Melvin were obviously the lowest and they only got the little leftovers. Dean explained to Reverend Richard that he needed to ride the sugar train, because I think he ended up getting the giggles and he got a little bit, not emotional, but a little bit giddy. So Dean was basically just like, you know, just jump on the train, and Reverend Richard was like, I just need to go and sit down. Danny said to Jane and Dean said to Jane and Danny that he should eat the crumpets or hide them somewhere, with Jane saying, well, that's actually their fault for leaving them unattended. Alan just said to Dean, "Are you okay?" And he kind of knew something had happened with the crumpets. And Talisa jumped in and said, you know, if you've, you know, taken, if you mess around, you've got smoke with me when it comes to food. I don't do this to anyone. And for dinner, they had octopus, maize, canistel for dessert. Melvin explained that he doesn't like octopus unless it's crispy calamari. And Alan said that for Talisa, if she doesn't like it, there's always half a crumpet left. And obviously he ended up getting the giggles, and she did a little fake laugh because obviously they only had half the crumpet because the other 2 had been stolen. And the campmates were also explained too that this was their final night as a group of 12 having their final dinner. They all kind of discussed their reasons for being there and kind of just summarised their time so far. Oti said it was scary to meet strangers, and obviously she loves everyone. Colleen said that she was initially scared of Jane when she first came in, and Dean was also very overwhelmed, but she's got to learn everyone. Reverend Richard said he's learnt about scissoring, and obviously being heavenly in an environment where we're all just nice people. Talisa said that she was terrified, and she just forgot about the things that scared her. Alan said he's had the time of his life. Jane said that if it's her that goes, she'll take these people as her friends in the moment. Barry explained that it was a lovely bunch of people. Danny said he was scared to do the speech and also scared to do the show, but it was an uplifting experience and he's found a dad in Barry. Maura said that she loves all of them, she was petrified, and everyone made her believe that she was strong. Melvin said he wouldn't have been able to get through this without anybody else. GK said that she was made to feel rallied, and it changed how she saw herself, and it would definitely change her on the outside. Dean said he's also learnt a lot about himself and he can get along with everybody else, and that obviously everyone is very efficient. And he also admitted to stealing the crumpets, which Talisa was like, you know what, I was quite angry earlier, but yeah, I would have toasted him myself, but now the fact that he's revealed that, I'm a little bit happier. And in the end, we found out from the first public vote it was either going to be Dean or Jane who were going to be first leaving the jungle. And we found out that Jane was the first person who was going to be leaving the jungle. So Jane basically said hard work does not get rewarded. She managed 14 days in camp. She did a skydive. She was in a paddling pool with crocodiles and eels, and she also boarded the fright bus. And then she came to Anton Deck to have a little chat with them. She said it was a weird and magical experience. Not the best experience with the rain, but all of the people in there were washing up. But all of the people in there were wonderful people, and she now obviously doesn't have to do any washing up. She said that the thing that she enjoyed the most was getting to know everybody else and knowing that everybody had everyone's back. She also, as a journalist, is known for asking lots of questions, and she was asking lots of questions for people. So she obviously explained the downtime in there is quite long when you're not doing a challenge or a trial. So she was just trying to fill the time by just, you know, creating conversation. She said that in terms of the washing up, obviously she was doing the logs, the fire, the dunny on her own. Dean was always obviously on trials, so she was supposed to be paired with him, but obviously he was never there and no one else is able to do the tasks. She said that obviously now there's going to be less of them in the camp. People need to stick to their roles and pull their weight, because obviously it will be apparent who's not doing as much. She said that the underwater challenge was very, very tough. She couldn't see and she even bashed her head, but she still managed to get through. And in terms of who she wanted to see win, she said she wanted to see the people that were quiet and people that were hardworking. So people like Melvin and Colleen, who just obviously kept everything going. So yeah, it was a very emotional first eviction episode. And obviously Jane managed to go and see her daughter Grace, who was waiting for her at the end of the walkway. And she said, "Mum, you absolutely stink." And she goes, "Yeah, I know I stink." So yeah, it was a very funny experience kind of seeing that. But yeah, like I said, I do feel really sorry for Jane that she was the first one out, because she did work really hard and she was kind of doing everything. But I guess at the same time, being that motherly figure, being that, you know, being everywhere, still doesn't get people to vote you. And again, I don't know what swayed people to vote her out as opposed to somebody else. It's like, yeah, we'll never know. That's the thing with these public shows. You always rely on the public. Most of the time they make the right decision, but yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one with Jane, because I think she worked really hard, but yeah, she didn't get rewarded for that. But she still came out really well, and she's had a bit more of a platform, so I guess that's kind of, you know, all you can ask for. So anyway, congratulations to Jane. She did manage 14 days, which is still amazing. But yeah, she's the first campmate out of I'm a Celeb. So if you did enjoy my review, don't forget to like, comment, chat and subscribe. And until my next review, thank you for watching and goodbye.